Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Your friendly neighbourhood Duke here, and today I want to talk about the Blitz refresh changes that took place on the 6th of July. So we got this email in our inbox saying starting today the cooldown time of a Blitz is reduced. Okay, now that has happened previously where we had the Monday Blitzes where you got 3 hours instead of 6 hours, but this is a new thing. This was actually for the latest Blitz that were on. So what did that actually mean? Well, what it actually meant was that the Blitz cooldowns are now every 2 hours. So this changes the game of Blitz quite radically in my view. And I think one of three things are now likely to happen. So I guess first of all you've got scenario number one, which was the old way of doing Blitz. And the old way of doing Blitz was fairly simple. You needed to have a deep roster in order to be able to do as many Blitzes within the 6 hour time window as possible. So you can see here that I've got a lot of tunes in my roster. At the start of a Blitz, I'd start right at the bottom with my worst tunes, go through tier 1, tier 2. With my roster I'd probably get into tier 3, wait 6 hours, and then take my sure to win teams, my strongest teams, and then work my way up through the tiers. Eventually finishing on the last day of the Blitz in tier 8 and able to do several runs at that and get over 300,000 points, something like that. That was the old way of working, and I call that the cash-rich way because you needed to have a lot of tunes and invest time or money into developing those tunes, making them as strong as possible. Now, the new scenario of Blitz is a bit different. Now you've got a 2 hour refresh, which means that you can run a fewer amount of teams more often. So that means you're going to need to be time rich this time. That means that you're going to have to be in the game every 2 hours playing those tunes to get the maximum amount from it. So that changes the scenario. Now you could say that actually if you've got a deep roster and you do it less than a narrow roster with 1 or 2 teams and you do that more frequently, you're going to even out. But there's of course going to be the third scenario where you've got people who are both cash rich, i.e. they have got a deep set of rosters, and time rich, i.e. they can afford to go into the game every 2 hours, and that's going to create mentally high Blitz scores. So if we look at actually what the Blitz scores were in Gentle Giant Blitz for Groot, you can see that the top player here got 5.1 million. This is in the post global launch shard, and then if you wanted to get into the top 100 you needed to have 1.4 million, and generally the top 500 is probably somewhere in the order of 800 to 1 million points. So what's going to be really interesting is to see what the latest scores coming out of this Quake Blitz are going to be. Now Quake, she's not a massively popular character I would say for Blitz because she's easily farmable in the arena store, so it's not like people are going to go massively deep into getting Quake maybe, but it would be interesting to compare the scores of the Gentle Giant Blitz that we had here versus the Quake Blitz that we're running now. I think the last thing to say is around Blitz energy, the Blitz charges. So before you could use your Blitz charges to refresh those top tier teams because they were only refreshing every 6 hours, and so Blitz charges were an important part of the game and farming them was an important thing to do. Now I'm not so sure whether Blitz charges are as important as they were. Now of course you can refresh your top teams with the Blitz charges, and that's exactly how you should use your charges. But with the every 2 hour refresh, unless you're going to be in the game an awful lot, I really think the value was devalued of those. I just think the value is less than it was. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it works out. I think, for my opinion, I think it's a step backwards. I think I've seen in the game a lot more stuff come into the game that's more time consuming. So having to play through these 2 campaign modes in hard for Rocket and for Ant-Man was quite time consuming. Now with Blitz coming in every 2 hours, of course you don't have to play Blitz every 2 hours, but there potentially will be a pressure if you want to get into the top 10% or 1% or whatever to actually do that. I think though for players who are just starting out, who've not got a deep roster, it does actually give them a chance to get into that top 10%, because before you needed to have a deep roster or high level teams to be able to do that. I think if you're willing to put the time and effort into refreshing every 2 hours, going back into the game, running your top 2 teams, even if they're not as powerful as the teams that I'm showing you here, maybe you've got teams that are a little more like the ones that I've got down here. So maybe you've got a Wolverine, a Daredevil, Spider-Man, Shield Medic, whatever, Hand Sorceress. If you run that team 4 times more than I run my 98,000 team, you're going to score the same points as me. So it gives people a chance potentially who are starting out to be able to score higher in Blitz. So for those people, I think this is a very positive change. I think for those players who've been running 4 or 5 months like me, it's a question of whether we want to spend the time doing that. But if you're a new player and you've got the time, you can potentially get into the top 10% and get those higher level rewards, which are definitely worth doing. If we look at the rewards ranking table, you can see that getting in the top 1 to 10% is definitely worth doing compared to the 11 to 25. And forget about the fact that this is Quake. If this is a character that you can't farm like Black Widow, you can really see the value in doing that. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Be very interested to see what you think, so please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the new Blitz refresh. If you like this video, leave me a like. Subscribe to my channel because I'll be putting out more content very soon. Take care, guys. Thanks very much for watching.